First up tonight, we have a storyteller with two first names. She is a teacher. Her best friend was a horse growing up, which I find pretty impressive. Her name is Lauren Catey. So if we could please give it up for Lauren.
Okay, so I grew up in Indiana. And like most girls growing up somewhere where there's nothing to do, I pined over boys. A lot. And my first love came early, and it came hard. I mean, he was perfect. He was super toned and muscular, and he didn't wear a lot of shirts, and he had a beard and long hair, and he loved his mother, and he was a carpenter. His name was Jesus Christ. And I was the best at loving Jesus Christ. Like, there was no one who could love the 33-year-old Son of God more than 8-year-old me. Like, I was in church every Sunday with a smile on my face, and I tithed 10% of my baby allowance, and I went to Rainbow Christian Camp every summer, and I was the Virgin Mary in the Christmas play. And, just like any first love, things can't stay perfect forever. And things got complicated with Jesus and I the day that Lisa Gross moved into town. And I'm serious, that was her name, Lisa Gross. And actually, she was pretty damn gross. Like, she had this really stringy, blonde, greasy hair, and she wore these dark green cargo pants every single day, and she smelled a lot like cigarettes and piss. But like, I wanted that. Like, I wanted to smell like that, because she was one of those people that was like cool, and they made smelling like piss cool. And so like, I don't really remember, like, her life was totally opposite of mine. Like, I don't really remember why we became friends, but like, I had to be in school every day, but Lisa was absent a lot. And on days that Lisa was absent, I would run out to recess, and Lisa actually lived in the trailer park right across from the elementary school playground. And on days when she was absent, I would look over into her front yard, and there would be Lisa. Like, she was standing kicking rocks in the dirt next to her chained up pit bull. And like, I would run up to the edge of the playground, I would like yell at her like, "Hey, Lisa, like, why didn't you come to school today?" And she'd be like, "Oh, like, my stepmom and my dad are asleep on the couch, like, I don't know." And I'd be like, "Cool. Like, see you tomorrow?" She's like, "Yeah, whatever." And like, she'd be at school the next day and she'd smell worse than ever, and she'd still be wearing the same clothes. And it's like, Lisa asked me to come over to her trailer one day, and back then, to me, living in a trailer seemed like you just got to be camping every day. And when I walked into the trailer, I was like looking around, like, where are the adults? Like, no adults, no rules. Like, what do we do first? But like, what we ended up doing was just watching Pretty Woman on her stepdad and mom's waterbed, and we made this grand scheme about how we were going to blow this town, and we were going to move to Los Angeles, and we were going to become prostitutes, which to me at the time meant you just get to go shopping all day. It sounded like a pretty sweet deal. So, God bless my mother, because she let me be friends with someone like Lisa Gross, and I begged her, and she said, all right, she can come over for a sleepover on Saturday night. So my mom picks up Lisa Gross, we go back to my house, and we're doing like typical 8-year-old girl sleepover stuff, right? Like, we're sneaking into my sister's room, we are reading her diary, we're like putting on nail polish and makeup, and like at some point, we end up like in our underwear, just like walking around my room, but it's cool because we don't have boobs yet. So that's when Lisa turns to me and she's like, "You want to see something I saw my stepmom and my dad doing the other day?" And I'm like, yeah, because whatever Lisa Gross has to say is a window into a world I have no clue about, right? And she's like, all right, like, I saw my stepmom, like, sitting on my dad like this, and I have to say that she was standing in front of this giant purple fuzzy stuffed gorilla that my dad won for my sister at Busch Gardens in Orlando, Florida. In this gorilla, he's giving like 2 thumbs up. And he's got this super smug look on his face. He's like, what's up? Awesome. And so Lisa like sits down on one of his thumbs and she starts like rocking back and forth with her hips and like up and down. And I'm like studying. I'm like, what is she doing? Like, I was like, were they naked? She's like, yeah, they were naked. She's like, actually feels pretty good. So I'm like, okay, Lisa Gross is doing it. I'm gonna do it. So I sit down on the other hand and I'm like looking at Lisa and I'm like, okay, this feels weird, but okay. And so I start doing like what Lisa's doing and I'm like rocking back and forth and like up and down. And that's like, at first I don't feel anything and then it starts to feel warm. And then it starts to feel like pop rocks down there. And I'm like, I love pop rocks. Like, who doesn't love pop rocks, right? And then that feeling starts to spread. And it grows and it grows. And I'm not paying attention to Lisa. And suddenly, it like grows into my brain and it explodes. And that's when it's like someone flipped on the lights in a 4 a.m. bar. And suddenly I'm back next to Lisa and it smells like cigarettes and piss again. And I jump up like, oh, let's do something else now. Okay. And so we do. And then the next morning I go to church. And I'm still thinking about this feeling. Like, what was that? And the sermon is actually about Adam and Eve and how Eve messed everything up because she ate the apple from the tree of knowledge. And I realized that that's how I feel, like suddenly I feel naked. And it's like I walked through a door I wasn't supposed to go through yet, and I felt a feeling that Jesus doesn't want me to feel. And Lisa Gross has let me in on a secret. And I feel really dirty about that, but at the same time, like I don't stop chasing that Pop Rocks feeling. Like, you know, that felt pretty awesome. And it's like as time goes on, I start to have like dreams about hell and like going to hell, but it's not enough. And, you know, just like any time where a relationship is starting to fail, I'm grasping at straws. And I really feel like this is driving a wedge between Jesus and I. So, you know, I like sit Jesus down. I'm like, Jesus, let's get married. And so when I'm 13, I do just that. I go to this event called True Love Waits that happens in backwoods Christian towns like mine. And it's basically like get together a bunch of preteens in a high school gymnasium that are super sweaty and tell them, hey, sign a contract that says this shit's locked down for the Lord. Like, I'm not gonna have sex until I'm married. And I actually got a wedding ring to Jesus. It was this heart with a key penetrating it, like super awesome imagery. And you know, for a while after I got married to Jesus, it was like, okay, like things are going good, but it didn't last. And as the years went on, I became a freshman in high school. Like, Lisa Gross died. I mean, no, like, she didn't actually die. Like, she's probably definitely dead now. But, you know, like, back then she just moved or whatever. So I get my first real boyfriend. You know, like, the boyfriend that you actually go places with. And we start to, like, make out like it's no tomorrow. I'm like, this is cool. Like, I checked the contract. This is allowed. Like, I'm not having sex. Jesus is cool. And then we break up. And I get another boyfriend. And this boyfriend, you know, we watch a lot of movies without actually watching the movie. And we do a lot of like heavy petting, but it's like, the line's getting blurred, but it's still okay. Then my next boyfriend, I mean, man, he's straight up awesome. He wears Jinko jeans all the time. And I'm like, so I let him like put his dick in my mouth. And it's like, that's cool, right? Jesus, like, that's my sex. And then, you know, I like start to realize that I don't have room for this guilt and it doesn't matter as much to me anymore. And a few months later, I fall in love for real. And it's falling in love in a way that's more tangible than anything I've ever felt for Jesus. And I'm like, it's like when I was trying to bring up a memory of Jesus, it was like it was faded. When you try to bring up a memory of someone that you used to love, it's just not there anymore. And so I decided, like, I'm ready to break up with you, Jesus. And I take the ring off, and I still remember the day, like, I gave it a kiss. And I put it in this box, like with other souvenirs of loves gone past, and I locked it up. And, you know, this boy that I was in love with then, he watched French New Wave films, and like, he was so deep. I mean, that's hard to find in Indiana. And so, you know, we took a ride to the next town over to get a hotel because our parents wouldn't let us close the bedroom doors. And we got a hotel, and we ordered a pizza, and we ate it, and we drank some really cheap rum. And technically, I lost my virginity. But like, technically, like, but that's a whole nother story. Thank you.